The Storytellers event is a good opportunity to share some words of wisdom I captured when I was deployed for a year. A project I did for my daughter called Words of Wisdom from Women at War, to give a female perspective on what it's like to be in the military and deployed, a perspective certainly I couldn't give as her father downrange. And so through that program, or that year-long process to build that gift, it turned into just a great inspirational set of short comments or short stories, some pictures from various ranks and various female soldiers, airmen, civilians that were downrange or had family members downrange, and what they wanted to say to a young 8-year-old girl based on a simple request I had was to give really just a female perspective on being deployed. And just ask them what words would they tell a young 8-year-old girl about what it means to be deployed, and the project from that really took a life of its own. They all talked about, in a sense, very different things, and so I'll hit on a couple of highlights of those. But also there are some themes that came through in almost every single story, and so at least from what I pulled, gave me interesting perspective that I obviously wouldn't have being male.
My story is about overcoming bone cancer and an amputation. So it's full of setbacks, but each setback actually put me forward in different ways. And I didn't realize it initially, or it took a while to realize that with each setback came another perspective, a second opinion, and in some ways a strange accolade, and another we were able to adopt. And so each time I thought things were looking worse, it actually ended up better. My experience, my feeling is that resiliency is it's twofold. It's one, it's what you have in your heart or in your feelings. The other one is that it's people you surround yourself with. If you can keep in mind and as well as not just mentally but truly believe that you have potential and you have things to contribute, and even though you're in a place where you can't right now, that you will be eventually, that things will get better, then that's an important part of being resilient. And the other part is the people you surround yourself with, the people that are going to help you overcome your problems, either directly or indirectly. And that those two things are what make most of the resilient people you'll meet resilient.
In 2001, life completely changed. I had a first son, was born, a first child, and was a boy. And November 27th, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and I kind of turned my world upside down. But he had 3 great years. I'll discuss a little bit of that, and then he relapsed, and then passed away in 2006. So I'll go over the story, more of not really his story, but my story and how it affected me and my career, and hopefully someone will take something from that and not do what I did. Because I didn't tell my story for the longest time, because I was, one, too embarrassed or too scared that I wouldn't be able to tell it. And then got here, and as soon as I got here in May 2006, I said, I gotta help people, because I've ruined my career. I don't want someone else to do the same thing. So no matter how bad, you can always get through all the adversity and turmoil and drama that comes along with anything in your life. It could be you lost your favorite pair of shoes to losing your son. I mean, everybody's it's different, so everybody has a story. And just that you can get through it and not to really worry about the small stuff and worry more about the big stuff.
18 July of 2013, my son was diagnosed with leukemia. So my wife and I had a lot to deal with at that point, given that we were also stationed overseas. We were stationed in England at the time. Just the support that we had was what enabled us to kind of get through that time. And once we progressed through his treatment, and about 10 months later, we received orders to back stateside. We were supposed to go to bowling. However, 2 weeks before our departure date, we got diverted to here at Peterson. But I was able to reach out to the folks here at Peterson. Upon our arrival 2 weeks later, we had gift baskets all ready for us. Food was being donated just because they knew our situation, and it was just a quick turnaround. Because literally we arrived on a Thursday, and the following day he had a new round of chemo that he had to deal with. The person beside you might need the most help, and you might not even know it. If you see someone struggling and they may have a family issue, just know that any support that you can provide them will not just help them probably emotionally, but spiritually and mentally as well. it's essential during emotional events that we have the support that we need. So I just want to share with people that help those around you, because you never know when you might need that help back.
So my story is about my life growing up in Los Angeles, California, the obstacles I had to overcome financially, with my family, with the environment that I grew up in, how small steps got me to where I am today, and how the Air Force brought me to where I am today, from not having a roof over my head and sleeping in my car to now having blankets and a place to call home, from not having food on the table to having breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the DFAC, and how I was lost before, and now I feel I have a purpose. I want to share my story because it was very emotional getting to where I am today, and I know there's a lot of other people that may be in the same situation or have come from the same situation that I've come from, and I want to share that so I guess they could empathize and they've come a far way to get to where they are. And if they did have the similar struggles, they should be proud of themselves. Focus on what you can, and small steps turn into miles. Yeah.